Yeah.
But the new album, History of Nomadic Behavior, is only a couple of weeks away. It's kind of hard to wait that long for it, but then we've waited 7 years for another Eyehategod album, so
yeah, true.
Another couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah. I spoke to you in Bristol a few years ago, and we were talking then about new music being worked on then. So has this been a very gradual process?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we're not one of those bands that puts an album out every year or anything, or, you know, some bands put an album out, then go on tour and then put another album out. Like they force an album out. We don't do that, you know? So this has been like in the works probably since like 2016 or something. I mean, that's when some of the songs are written. You know, we were doing some of these songs live already on tour, a couple of them. But yeah, the music was recorded in like the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. I can't remember. Yeah, that's when the music was recorded. We'd just been on tour so much.
Yeah.
You know, in that little interim that we, you know, I couldn't do the vocals. I didn't have a chance to like get in and do the vocals and have enough time to do them properly, you know?
Yeah.
So we were kind of sitting on this music, you know, for since then. But last year I got in the studio to do the vocals and got that done finally.
Cool. Where is it recorded?
In Chicago.
All right.
I did. Yeah, I have a friend. Well, first of all, that was another problem, was that all the studios were closed because of the pandemic, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, we had all this time now because what was going on, we couldn't tour. So, yeah, I flew to Chicago because I have a friend, his name's Sanford Parker. He's worked with Voivod and Yob, a bunch of bands. He has a studio there called Hypercube. And I went up there, you know, we've worked together before. We have a band called Corrections House.
Okay.
That we do. So I've worked with him before. He's a friend of mine, you know, so that was the best for me to do, to go up there.
Yeah.
But that's like when the album was, that was, you know, then the music was done. We just had to do mixing and all that next.
Yeah. That's quite surprising. I thought maybe you would have, like, say, with so many studios being recorded, I thought you might have recorded it at Phil Anselmo's place, or there might have been someone else in New Orleans that had a studio available. So going up to Chicago is quite a trek.
Well, he, you know, like I said, he's a friend of mine, and it just worked out great, you know. So it was the best thing to do. The last album, the self-titled, was the vocals were done out at Phil's.
Okay.
You know, and the music for this one was done in New Orleans, just a different studio.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
I think it works with the history and the ethos of Eyehategod to make sure the music is recorded in New Orleans, because there is such a connection between the band and the city, you know, as same as so many other bands from the area. So
that's true. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about recording like the music at another studio somewhere, you know, we've gotten offers like come to our studio and wherever, New York or Milwaukee or somewhere, you know, but I think the music's best down there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have went down there to do the vocals, but I just I thought this would be cool since he's a friend of mine and we work good together. So I wanted to see how this would happen. So yeah.
Cool, man. And like I say, it's a couple of weeks till the album as a whole comes out, but there's already been 4 singles: Circle of Nerves, High Risk Trigger. I don't need to name the songs, you know them. What interested me this time is that there's a lyric video. I think it was for Beneath the Lies. What I find interesting about that is if you look through Eyehategod albums and this kind of thing, finding the lyrics is quite difficult. If you go on a website like Dark Lyrics, there's only a couple of songs per album.
And they're probably wrong.
They're probably wrong,
Yeah.
So had lyrics always been like that personal to you that you wanted to kind of keep them almost unintelligible so that people can make up their own?
No, not on purpose. That was just a matter of being drunk. On the past records, you know, I mean, you know, I have a book out, you know, with all my lyrics and stuff in it. And I've always put the lyrics in the records, but they're just abstract and like just to kind of confuse people.
Yeah.
I like to confuse people, you know? So that's kind of how we did it before. It wasn't a matter of keeping them private or anything, you know?
Okay.
They were there. It was just a matter of decoding like what goes where, you know?
Yeah.
And then with my book, I have this book out called Cancer as a Social Activity. It's been out since 2003. It's like most of the lyrics and then like some new stuff I wrote, like stuff I wrote for other bands, you know, like lyrics for that, but like, and some just like short, like prose things. But yeah, so it's not been that, not the privacy thing. I want people to read my lyrics.
Okay.
So that on this new record, you know, that was kind of more of the idea I had, was to kind of put it out there more, you know, to kind of pronounce the words better. You know, I started doing that on the last album, and I did that with Arson Anthem, was a band I have with Phil and Hank 3, you know. So I started doing it then, and like, you know, it was kind of cool. I was like, wow, people can hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just this. I mean, part in the past, like the slurred, drunken vocals was part of the sound. You know, it was part of I Hate God. But I mean, it's, you know, it's evolved. I Hate God. You know, we're just putting a little more into it to make it a little more pronounceable and clear. You know.
Yeah, I think that probably became most apparent with the New Orleans as the new Vietnam single.
Yeah.
Like from there you can hear it, and like Medicine News, you can hear it really clearly as well. So.
Right. Yeah, I started doing it back on that album. You know, so I think it's just, you know, like I said, the evolution. It's just, you know, the way things happen. You know, it wasn't like, you know, I didn't sit there and think about it forever. I just did it, you know. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you say like the lyrics inside the booklet and that kind of thing are kind of jumbled up like a collage in a way, because that's always been the way that Eyehategod album covers are as well.
Yeah.
And this new one is probably, for lack of a better word, it's the tidiest one. Yeah, you know, it's the most clean, which isn't really a word you associate with Eyehategod.
No, not really. But I used it before, so yeah.
All right. You've used it.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying the art's tidy. It's probably, I mean, it's done the same way that we always do it, you know.
Yeah.
On the early albums, it was all cut and paste with scissors and glue stick. It really was, and just glue it down, send it to the label, you know. But with the last album, the self-titled, we did the same ideas. We got, you know, found stuff we liked, art that we liked, and different things, but we do it through Photoshop now and like kind of clean it up a little, you know, but it's still the same idea. It's just, once again, it's the modern way to do it, you know. It's so
it's still chaotic. It's still very punk in a way. So
right, yeah, it's just, you know, you got these new tools to use, you might as well use them, you know, and make it look a little modern, you know,
presentable.
Yeah, kind of catch up with the times a little bit, you know.
Well, what's interesting about this album is I believe it's the first you've done as a quartet. Jimmy's the only guitarist this time around.
Yeah.
Had you considered bringing in another second guitarist, or were you just happy to let Jimmy do his thing?
Actually, the first album is a 4-piece. The first album we ever did, But we thought about it. I mean, we've like thought of some, you know, maybe, but I don't know. I like it the way it is myself, you know. I mean, who knows, in the future we may do that. I don't know, you know. It was tossed around a little bit, you know, the thought of that, but I don't know. We're kind of happy right now with it just being us four. You know, it's kind of like personal, and like, to me it's kind of raw. You know, Jimmy plugs in on stage and uses amps on both sides of the stage. So we still get the loud sound. We just don't have Brian's like actual tone, you know, but I like it, you know, but who knows? We could do anything. It could change.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's best not to force it. You know, if you're happy with it at the moment,
tinker
with it just for the sake of.
That's how I look at it. if
Yeah.
somebody comes along, you know, that we're friends with and we know and that maybe could fit in the band like that, who knows? We may change it, you know.
Yeah, and like you say, it still comes across like with full force. And like I was saying, it was like a year ago, the other day, I saw you in Leeds with Napalm Death,
Right.
Sound, and all that. And I've always said Napalm Death were the best live bands around.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, you blew them away.
Oh, really?
It was funny because I've been talking to this girl at the venue all night, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really know Eyehategod." I said, "Oh, you'll like it. It's like Black Sabbath with Discharge." And she went, "That's all I need to hear." And by the time you finished your set, she was a mess. And she goes, "I loved it."
Really? That's great, man. That's great. Yeah, we try to put, you know, 1,000% into playing live. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're a live band. You know, we're not, as you can see, we're not really a studio band because we put out so few records. You know, I mean, in all these 30 years. You know, so yeah, well, that's where we're the best is live, and it's where we feel the most comfortable too. You know.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of funny that you say that it feels most comfortable, because I would say Eyehategod is one of the most aggressive and abrasive live bands I've ever seen. There's always that, like you yourself especially, you look like you're just ready. You want to fight everybody in the whole venue, you know.
Well, you got to get in that mode, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was asking some friends if they had any questions for you, and someone said, do they remember playing a festival in West Virginia a few years ago? It looked like they hated it. I was like, well, one, they're in West Virginia, and two, I think that's just how Eyehategod appears. So
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know which one they're talking about. Maybe Muddy Roots Festival or something. Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
But unfortunately, you know, we can't have an interview in the modern day and age without bringing up the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like you say, the music was already recorded, although you had to go to Chicago to record the vocals. Obviously, you can't really tour for the album. Aside from the touring, how much has COVID affected plans for the album itself?
I mean, aside from touring, not much really. I mean, the fact that some studios were closed last year, you know, which was actually good in the long run because it brought me to Chicago, you know, so which turned out good. Yeah, it's mainly that, you know, getting back on the road. That's what we want to do, you know. We just can't wait to get back out there and tour. That's, like I said again, we're a live band, you know. That's where we feel the best at, you know. Yeah. I
mean, there's so many like live videos of Eyehategod and that, you know, compared to like there's only been one official music video for Medicine, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if maybe you thought about doing another one for this album, but COVID had kind of struck down those plans or something like that.
We probably could. I mean, you know, we still could do that. You know, we have these like lyric video things that the label's been kind of doing, you know, with our help, but nothing with like us live in it yet, you know. I mean, that is an idea that we've thought about too, you know, doing something like that.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today, mate. I apologize once again for the clusterfuck last week.
No problem. I totally understand, man. It's fine.
Cool, man. You look after yourself, and hopefully once all this is over, we'll see you over here again.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll be back soon as we can get out there. We will.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man.
Good talking to you, man. Take care.
Bye now.
Later.